Good morning. So welcome to another reading vlog. This week is going to be a challenge for me to see whether I can keep up my vlog while I do 3 days of work in the office the next 3 days. Not today. Today I'm at home and starting to relax and feel on top of things again. I've been in the office so much lately, but now I think I can get back into a regular thing where I'm working from home at least 2 days a week. Oh my goodness, I really hope so. Anyway, reading. Let's talk about books. So the things that I'm wanting to read this week. Firstly, I've got Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the second book in the Dreamers trilogy, which is kind of a spin-off series from the Raven cycle. It's very strange, but that's pretty much a summary of all of Maggie Stiefvater's writing. But this one, I don't know. Actually, I feel like it's not as lyrically written as some of her previous books. And like, I remember reading the first Raven Boys book and feeling like the end of every chapter and the beginning of every new chapter had like a line that really hit the spot for me, whereas these, I don't feel like it's quite doing that. But however, I'm still enjoying it. I was wondering what was going on for a little bit, what's going to be the direction of this book. However, about 70 pages in, we encountered this item that the Dreamers are definitely going to be interested in. As well, two of our characters, Ronan, who's from the original Raven cycle, as well as Hennessy, are learning about these magical powers that they have. But there's also like a bigger cast of characters, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. I did get through 100 pages last night, and I'm hoping to get through a decent amount today as well. As well as this, last night I did start reading the ebook of Exhalation by Ted Chiang. So this is like a short story anthology, and I thought I'll read a different story every night. So I read the first one last night. I don't actually know where it's called. Where is my phone? Here it is. Let me see what it was called. The Merchant and the Alchemist's Gate. I honestly really loved it. It's a time travel thing. I always love time travel. So there is this gate where if you pass through it one way, you go back in time 20 years. And if you go through it the other way, you go forwards in time 20 years. And it kind of tells the story of several different people who go through this gate and how things work out for them. The time travel in this story is kind of like consistent time travel. So you can't change things. The way things are the way that they are after you've manipulated time. Time travel can get very confusing, but I really enjoyed it. It's the exact kind of short story that I was hoping for from this anthology, so I'm excited to continue it. What else am I reading? Oh, the other thing, I'm listening to the audiobook of King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. So this is kind of the latest duology in the Grishaverse. So in this one we're following Nikolai and Nina from the earlier books, as well as Zoya. I kind of feel the same about these books as I did in the initial ones. Like, there's a lot of potential with Nina's character and what's happened with her magical abilities, but instead we're mucking around with all this other nonsense that I don't care about. As well, Nikolai has some problems from the earlier books, and he's trying to deal with those by getting married and having an heir. I just don't care about that. I think, again, the problems he has are interesting, but the book is just really slow. But I remember I kind of felt similar about the previous books, but there were parts that were interesting enough that for those parts I was willing to continue. But so far I haven't had any of those parts. But it's fine, it's an audiobook. I just listen to it while I'm doing other things and it's not a problem. Anyway, I should probably get back to work, but I will update you again when I've done some more reading. Okay, it was a long week, but once again it is the weekend. Once again my grades are looking terrible. It always seems like they go from nothing to oh my god really quickly. So I'm gonna fix that this weekend. As well, I'm about to go and enjoy maybe some sunshine with Jace. I'm not sure if the weather's gonna agree with us, but it's teasing us. Like, I think it might be tricking us, but we're gonna try. As far as reading goes, so I think I'm up to like page 190 of Mr. Impossible, and I think in the beginning I was a little bit uncertain. I wasn't sure of the direction. Did you hear that? My washing's ready. So I wasn't sure of the direction of this. Oh my goodness. Shush, I know you're ready. So in the beginning, I wasn't sure that I really got the direction of this. I wasn't really fully engaged in it. However, I have now started getting really into it. I feel like the last couple of chapters that I read were just like the perfect tone that I was wanting from this book. I think really the bits with Jordan and Hennessy are the bits I find the least interesting. It's some of the other characters that are more interesting. And I almost feel like there's more Ronan and Hennessy than there needs to be, because a lot of people will go into this book wanting Ronan because he's from the Raven cycle. Those people are probably going to be disappointed. In fact, I think I've heard they are disappointed. But I'm really enjoying this, and I can't wait to see what happens next with everything that's going on. I really love the way that art is incorporated into this story, so we'll see how that continues. As well, I read, I think, just past halfway of, what's it called? King of Scars. It's kind of weird because some quite exciting things happened, but I feel like it's just written in this way that really assumes that you love the characters and you want to get a lot about their feelings and their emotions. And that's probably a reasonable assumption, given that this is the 6th book in a longer running series, that most people going into this really love the characters and want all those feelings. I don't care about the feelings. I just want to get into the interesting things that are happening with the plot. I also think the 2 storylines seem very disconnected, and they both have interesting things going on, but very different interesting things. And I assume at some point further into the story they will connect. But at the moment, it just feels like each storyline is a distraction for the other one. And I would rather just get one of the stories so that I could really focus on that story. Part of me even thinks that maybe instead of being a duology, it should have just been 2 interrelated books. A Nina book and oh my god, I've forgotten his name. Nick. I want to say Nicholas, but that's wrong. Oh, my brain is broken. Anyway, I did stop listening to that because I wanted to tell you that I was really enjoying it, but also frustrated about the way it's being written before I continued on to the end, because I feel like the end is either going to really sell me on this duology or do the opposite. So we'll see which way it goes. While I was waiting to talk to you about that one, I decided to start another audiobook. So I started listening to The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. So this is a YA mystery. It's kind of a spin-off to the Truly Devious trilogy. I think you can... No, you can't really read it beforehand or separately. You really need to have read Truly Devious first to know how Stevie got where she is now and understand what's going on with her and her friend group and her relationships. But I find it really interesting because part of me would say that the things that are frustrating me about King of Scars is because it's a YA and it's focusing on YA things, which is not things I'm interested in. However, The Box in the Woods is also a YA, but I'm enjoying it a lot more. Maybe I just need to read more YA mystery thrillers, because I think I've actually enjoyed most YA mystery thrillers that I've read. Anyway, it's not the YA aspect that's annoying me. It's just, I guess, the way that the particular genre or tropes are being written in the different books. So I'm really enjoying Box in the Woods. Basically, our main character Stevie really wants to be like an investigator type person. In the original trilogy, she's involved in trying to solve this big crime at this boarding school that she goes to, but in this one she's going to go to summer camp. She's basically been asked to attend to try and help solve this crime that happened back in the 70s. Part of me was going to say 50 years ago, and then I was like, the 70s is not 50 years ago, but it is 50 years ago. So I haven't got very far into that, but I am really enjoying it, and it's just kind of nice being back with Stevie, and I'm really interested to learn about this crime and try and figure it out before Stevie does. Oh, and there's one other thing that I have also been reading. So I started reading Exhalation by Ted Chiang. I told you already about the first short story, I think. The second one was this really cool one where it was kind of this guy talking about how air is so important to life, but you very quickly realize that he's not a person, he's a robot. And he ends up basically taking himself apart, like self-dissecting himself, and from that learning a really important thing about the world that really made me question a lot of things about life. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. It was a very weird perspective. I did start reading the next one, but it looks like it's a longer short story, so it's about 3 times as long as the other ones, and so I haven't got very far into it yet. We're following a couple of employees at this place that makes like digital pets. So we've got this ex-zookeeper who helps look after some of these pets that they're experimenting and making, and also this designer who designs the look of them. I don't know what it's going to be about other than that. However, so far this short story anthology is really living up to what I was expecting from Ted Chiang. Anyway, since my washing is finished, I really need to go. I'm running late today. So I will check in with you guys again later.
Wish I could feel what I can't see. Float like a butterfly, scream like a banshee.
Hello. I feel like I look tired, but maybe I just feel tired. Maybe it's both. Anyway, I spent the weekend kind of dying of being a girl and just recovering from working, and now it's Monday. But I did over the weekend when I was driving around finish off listening to King of Scars. What did I think about it in the end? I kind of liked it, but I just have a lot of problems with it. Like, I think what happened overall is really interesting. I just think the way it was constructed with the way the different storylines were stuck together was weird, and some of the backstories felt like unnecessary, and I just feel like somehow this story could have been told in a way that would have made what happened a lot more impactful. Or at least for me, I didn't get the impact that I think I should have, given that some of the things that were happening were actually quite exciting. But it could just be that I'm not connecting with the characters. I definitely think in the end, the two different storylines that were going on between Nikolai and Nina never came together. So, I mean, I assume they'll come together in the second book in the duology, but based on that first book, it made absolutely no sense for those stories to be being told at the same time. I mean, they're happening at the same time, but there's not really any significant overlap, and I feel like every time you change to the other storyline, it felt like just it was slowing down what was happening with the other plot line. Still, the actual things that are happening are quite interesting. I really like what's happening with Zoya's magic. We didn't really have any progression of what's happening with Nina's magic, which is what I'm mostly looking for in this duology, but maybe in the next book. I need to put a hold on that audiobook. The other thing that I have progressed on is I finished reading the next story in the Exhalation short story anthology. So this one was called The Lifestyle of Software Objects, and it's the longest short story in the book, and often for short story anthologies, the longest one in the book will actually be the name of the anthology. But I can understand why The Life Cycle of Software Objects would not be a good name for this short story anthology. And I would also say Exhalation, which is the one that the anthology is named after, is so far the best of all the stories I've read, but I've still got a few more to go. I did quite like the one that I just read. In some ways it kind of went on a bit, but at the same time I was really engaged in all these decisions that these characters were having to make about these digital pets that they're trying to raise, and there's like a lot of analogies to what it's like raising an actual human child and looking into what really is the difference between raising a human child and raising these digital pets that have some form of artificial intelligence. And I guess it's looking into, to some degree, what the difference is between humans and artificial intelligence. It was definitely very interesting, and again, that's what I'm expecting from this anthology, is stories that are really going to make me think. So, I haven't made any progress on Mr. Impossible, but I'm going to try to get to it tonight. I am also right now going to try and put some more purple in my hair, see if I can make things more purple than black. I'm kind of expecting it to fail, but we'll try. At least we can make these greys into something like purple. And then maybe I can read some of this. And the next 3 days I'm going into the office, so I should be able to finish off The Box in the Woods during that commute. So hopefully in the next couple of days we can finish off everything that I somehow have in progress, even though I'm going into the office 3 days. And as we know from last week, when I went into the office for 3 days, I kind of just disappeared and lost my ability to do anything other than work. But once again, we will try not to have that happen. Hello. So once again, it is Saturday. I actually felt okay this week, but I felt also that I looked like a zombie the whole week, and my self-esteem was not up to filming while I look like that. So I didn't. But I actually did okay at reading. So let me try and remember everything that I finished. Firstly, I finished off The Box in the Woods, and I just really liked it. I loved following along with Stevie as she solved the crime. I will say there was this thing where you're following along with Stevie's perspective, and there was a part where she knew something and she didn't tell us, the reader, and that always kind of annoys me when twists are based on the main character not telling you what they know, but I'm willing to let it go just because I enjoyed the story so much. It was just a lot of fun, and like, the mystery did wrap up in one book. There were a lot of points where I was like, there are still so many unknowns. How is this possibly going to wrap up in the short amount of time that we have? But everything was wrapped up really nicely, and I enjoyed the way that it was done. There was also quite a lot of excitement at the end, so that was cool. I just really loved it. Actually, since I finished that, then on Friday I started listening to a new audiobook, The Subtweet by Vivek Shraya. So this is the story about two musicians that end up, after one covers the other one's song, they end up kind of forming a friendship. What I knew going into this is there's meant to be one character subtweets and it leads to their friendship breaking down or something. In the beginning I found it really interesting. The main character that we started with was very judgmental, but I felt like the way the book was writing it, that we were really going to get her to learn that expecting other people to view creativity in the same way you do is not very helpful, and like judging people on that is not helpful. But I'm not sure she's going to learn anything at this point. We're also following this other character who is the one who did the cover of her song, and just it's kind of about their friendship, but both the characters are somewhat unlikable, and their thought processes are so unhealthy, and the way they deal with social media is so unhealthy, and I think that's meant to be the point of the story, but I kind of find myself stopping paying attention to it because both the voices of the characters, even though one's more judgmental and one's a little bit more open, the tone of their voices are very same, so it's hard to follow which character we're following in audiobook form. And like, it's just a lot of anxiety and friendship drama and people using social media in unhealthy ways. I think I said that already, and I just, you know, if I wanted that kind of drama, I could hang out with my friends who have that kind of drama all the time. Especially, I guess, like maybe some people would be really into the musician aspect of it, but a lot of my friends are musicians, and like honestly it just takes me back to unhealthy times with some of my musician friends in the past. So I don't know. I think I still got a couple of hours left to listen to, and if we can get some strong lessons in there at the end, or like some conclusions, I might like it more. Or like some character growth would be nice. Anyway, I'm gonna do some housework after I film this, and maybe I'll be able to finish listening to it then. The other things that I read, so many things. Oh yeah, I finished Mr. Impossible. I haven't told you about this yet either. I really loved it. There was something that got revealed near the end that pretty much makes me want to reread the whole series. Pretty much every character is in a different position than they were at the beginning of the book, and when I finished it I just want to know what happens next. I'm really frustrated that we're gonna have to wait for the next book. I'm pretty sure Maggie Stiefvater has actually finished writing it, but we can't get it because that's how publishing works. But I just really love this. I love the magic in this world. I love some of the ideas. I love the characters. And even in the end, the part with Jordan and Hennessy did start interesting me. However, I do still think Hennessy and Ronan are my least favorite characters in this. I love Jordan and I love Declan, and what's happening with Matthew is really interesting. And I love Carmen and Liliana. I know that a lot of people who like the Raven Cycle won't like this because they're wanting to go into this for the friendship group that was in the Raven Cycle, which this does not have. But if you liked some of the weird magic stuff in the Raven Cycle, then I think you will like this. So I'm excited that I finished that, but also annoyed that I have to wait. The other things I read these two graphic novels. So this is Boy Crazy Stacey. It's a graphic adaptation of the Babysitter's Club books, which were my favorite when I was a kid. Boy Crazy Stacey is number 8 in the original books. I love how I just know that number because it's like so stuck in my brain. I don't actually know where it is in the graphic series because I know they did them slightly out of order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this must be number 7 in the graphic order. So this one's about Marianne and Stacey go to the beach with all the Pike kids. There's like 8 kids in the family or something, and they go to the beach and Stacey spends her whole time lusting over some stupid lifeguard, and there's a bunch of drama. In the end they learn some lessons and everyone's happy, and there's a bunch of fun kid stuff mixed in there. I enjoyed it. I knew I would. I already know the story because I've read the original book many times. The other one I read is Karen's Worst Day. So this is like a spin-off series of the Babysitter's Club about one of the characters' little sister, Karen. In this one, Karen just has a really bad day, but it's like just lots of small things happening, and you can kind of see how a lot of it is her attitude going into it that's causing her to have a bad day. And eventually she talks to some of her family about when they have bad days, and everyone kind of acknowledges that she's having a bad day, and then they just do some really small things that turn it into a good day. Ugh, that sun has suddenly come out very super bright. Today's one of these changeable days where it's either super sunny or raining, and it could change every 5 minutes. And before I needed to be here to get enough light, but now I'm gonna die with that sun. Anyway, I really like the lessons in this, and I think that it would be a really good book for middle grade kids to read, and it's just super cute and fun, and I liked it. Oh, I'm gonna have to move out of the sun. Oh, that's so much better. My eyes. Maybe I am still a zombie in my heart. Anyway, I haven't finished telling you everything that I read yet. Honestly, this is ridiculous. So the other thing that I read and I finished is Exhalation by Ted Chiang, which is that short story anthology I read. Oh, and actually the other thing that's happened in the last few days is I got myself a new iPad, and I bring this up because I ended up reading the end of Exhalation on this iPad. Was it easier to read on my iPad than on my phone? Not really, but this is new, and so I wanted to use it. And as well, now that I have this new iPad, I'm getting really into digital journaling, and I created, you probably won't be able to see it, like this little page all about exhalation, and made notes about all the different stories, and I'm gonna like track my reading in it. I'm still playing with like the different formats. I'm using Noteshelf, which from my quick playing seemed to be the best one. If you know of any other like digital journaling apps, then let me know. This one is pretty cool because like the writing, I like the way the interface is designed, and as well it lets you like have templates for different kinds of pages and make like weekly and monthly planners. I'm having a lot of fun playing with it and being organized in different ways, and I like just being able to like scribble and delete things. It's like the perfect notebook where you can add the pages you need and you can delete things if you mess things up and you can move things around. I'm having a lot of fun. But as well, I finished Exhalation on it and I loved it. I think there was like maybe one story that I didn't really like, but every other one just had such amazing ideas and really got me thinking about things. There was one all about this technology that lets you remember everything perfectly, and I finished that story thinking, do I even know who I am? There's another one where these parrots, it's like told from the perspective of a parrot who's watching humans looking for intelligent life in space, and the parrots are like, we're right here. If you want to talk to intelligent life, why don't you talk to us? We can talk. And it was just a really interesting perspective, but as well, that last line in that story, it was kind of just like so unexpected, but also like almost made me cry. There's another one where it's set in a world where there's scientific proof of God, and it's really interesting seeing how the world might be different in that situation. But also then there is a scientific discovery that perhaps shifts their understanding of God, which was also very interesting to see how people might react to that. Honestly, I was a little bit annoyed that I had to rush through the last few stories because the book's returning itself to the library later today. However, reading all those last stories, which were all amazing in a row, just kind of blew my mind, and it's part of why I'm feeling so excited this morning, because I just finished them off this morning. So that's cool. What else? I feel like I've been talking forever. So since it's Saturday and it's sunny, I'm gonna go out and enjoy the sunshine soon. But the other thing I'm gonna try and read this weekend if I get some time is Tomie. It's the only other graphic thing left on my TBR, and as well, even though it's like super long and chunky, it's a graphic with not many words. So oh, that's from the library. Some kind of visual poetry jam. Anyway, I think I might be able to get through this in one day. Tomorrow, probably not today, because today is for the sunshine, which right now is getting strong, so fingers crossed it can keep it up. I guess I'll go and also try and finish off the subtweet, and hopefully I haven't missed anything out, but if I have, I'll let you know. Good morning, it is Sunday morning. I feel a bit zombie-ish again, but I'm trying to get my day started before the whole day is gone. Currently very sunny, but I feel like it won't last long, so I'm gonna go for a walk and return my library books and enjoy the sunshine. But I thought before I do that, I will tell you about my reading and maybe wrap this vlog up, because I feel like after I talked for a million years yesterday that it's probably too long already. So I'll save Tomie and Raybearer, which I just started, for next week. But I realized that yesterday, even though I talked forever, I actually missed a book. So I also read Bee and Puppycat, volume 3. So if you don't know about this series, basically you've got Bee and Puppycat, who is like a cat and a dog, and they are magical temps, so they go on these magical jobs to solve magical things, but also just kind of relatable, struggling with life kind of stuff as well. It's super cute. The only thing with these graphic novel volumes is that each, like, it's basically like an anthology of little comics, and each one is drawn by a different person, so they're variable in quality. There were some in here that I really liked, but probably not as much as the first one. which I thought I owned. Oh, is it? Oh, everything's fallen over. That's the problem here. This one. I think this one was still my favorite of the 3 volumes. Yeah, because this one had the best use of QR codes that I have ever seen in my whole life. Basically, there were different music boxes and you could hear what they sounded like by clicking on the QR codes. Cool. Anyway, I didn't read this one. I read this one and I liked it. It was okay. The other thing that I finished reading was the Subtweet by Vivek Shraya. And I do think in the end it came together a lot better. I feel like a lot of the starting of the story was just like set up, and a lot of the relationship drama was kind of just annoying to me, and I didn't think it added as much to the stories in the end when we actually got to the point and we started learning some lessons about how unhealthy a lot of the communication had been and the way that they're using social media to like give themselves value and to manage their relationships and making assumptions about what their friends are doing based on what's happening on social media. So I liked the way it came together in the end, and I thought it had some good messages in the end, but that first half was a struggle for me. And I know there's a reason why the characters are like that, but I just didn't find it enjoyable to read. But the ending was good. I liked it. And I also think like some of the pretentious thoughts about creativity and music creation, I think those thoughts were examined in the end, and it recognized that some of those thoughts about creativity can also be quite toxic and unhealthy. I just feel like we had to go through too much toxicness and unhealthiness before we got to like the clear discussion about the fact that it was toxic and unhealthy. Anyway, it was fine. I think people that have really unhealthy relationships with social media and make a lot of assumptions about people's life based on what they see of their life on social media would probably enjoy this. I do wonder as well if I'd read it physically whether I would have liked it more, because part of my problem was that I felt like the voices of all the different women characters sounded too much the same. But maybe if I'd read it physically, it wouldn't have been the same as listening to it all in the same woman's voice. But I did still feel like the writing style was very similar for all the women, so I still feel like I might have got them confused. I just remembered I never went back to that other book which I felt the same way about. What was that book? Anyway, I will track that down. Do let me know if you have read any of the books that I talked about in this vlog, what you thought about them. Did you agree with me? Did you think different things? I would love to know and discuss it with you down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for hanging out with me over the last couple of weeks. I hope you are doing well, and I will see you next time.